Hi everyone, this is Laura from Hint and Mitten, and I would like to show you how to assemble a 3D paper teacup, just like the one right here. So this is a finished product. I do not recommend this for drinking, but it's perfect for decorations, for a table, for a tea party that you are hosting. So this is the finished product right here, but these are the individual pieces after you have cut it from your cutting machine, such as a Cricut or Silhouette. You have the outside panels here, which you can do in an accent color or a pattern. And these are what you see here on the outside of the teacup. This piece will fold to create the base of the teacup. These will be the two parts that make up the handle. And this piece right here goes in the bottom of your teacup. To start, I recommend as you take everything off of your mat during cutting that you put it exactly how it is from your cutting mat. So that way we keep track of everything and it's in its right place, and that will help when assembling the teacup, putting the panels on the exact spot. For the main part of the teacup here, everything will fold inwards. So you see these score lines. These score lines mean that we're going to fold it inwards. So the panels are going to go on the opposite side. I find it easier to fold everything to get everything ready to go than to paste my panels before actually putting it together. For the glue, I recommend this quick dry tacky glue or a different type of glue similar to this. I used a scrapbook glue and I did not feel like it was strong enough. So this is the one I have been using. I also have a paintbrush here. If glue comes out too much, then I use this to create a thin line of it. To get started, I'm going to move everything to the side here and just get started here on the base. So your score lines can be done by a score pen or a scoring wheel, and I just kind of go along here and fold everything to start. This is one big piece that you use, and that kind of makes it easier for your assembly process. Now that I have finished it, I flattened everything out and flip over. All of these pieces are going to fit here glued. Glue everything at this point except for the piece that goes for the handle. You'll notice that it has 4 different slits, so I'm going to put this to the side so that way I can do it after we assemble the teacup. It is best to line up everything in the center of each spot, which is why I folded it in the first place, so it's easier to see the lines for centering, and do the best you can. These outer pieces may look slightly off, but when it's folded together, then it will make more sense. So you're going to flip your piece over, grab some glue. Actually, before we do that, sorry. It's best to kind of slightly bend the piece so it will curve better with the teacup. Then you flip it over. And you can tell that a lot more glue came out than I needed in one spot. So I'm going to use my paintbrush and take it to the edge as best I can, so that way it adheres better to the teacup when it goes into a 3D dimensional shape. I'm going to take this piece. Do your best to line it up, since it does allow some movement, but it will dry pretty quickly here. So press into place. And then we're going to repeat this step for all the other ones. So we're going to slightly bend the piece. You can use a pen or you can use your finger. Flip over. Add some glue. I use a paintbrush to kind of have it more evenly coated. And we carefully put it down in its place. And do your best to line it up with the piece before it. In this case, I had a little bit of glue pop up, so you can use a towel or a Kleenex, whatever you have on hand, to kind of lightly dab the glue. A reminder again to skip this next piece with the 4 cut lines, and we're going to go to the very end slot. Okay, now that you have glued all the accent panels, we're going to leave this one to the side, and we're going to focus on assembling this base together here. So I like to start at one of the ends here. So I start here, and I'm going to be adding glue along this piece and folding it over. So we're just going to work on all these tabs gluing before we get to the very end. I still like to use my paintbrush just because my glue comes out a lot here. So then we're going to push this together so it kind of meets there. You'll feel some resistance. In this case, use some paper towel if you have too much glue. In my case, thankfully everything is on the inside of the teacup, so it's a lot easier. Now you can see that these 2 pieces, there's no gap, and they perfectly meet there together. We're going to go on to this next one, add some glue. Try to not do as much this time. Spread it out if needed. Meet the 2 pieces and go there together. Rub any glue if you need to. Now that we have done all of the different sections, it is now time to do the end section here. So I recommend doing both flaps at the same time to be able to hold into place. So we add a little glue to both sections. I'm going to use my brush to just spread out a little bit here. You're gonna want to hold up to the top where it meets. This just requires a little bit of patience sometimes. You just want to line the top and the bottom and to kind of hold in place throughout the piece. So now you can see the top and bottom, and just make sure the glue is firmly in place and nothing's moving around. So here we are, we have made the base except for the very bottom piece. So here we have almost put together, and I always like to double check to make sure that this bottom piece is I have it kind of in a good spot where I like it. So here it seems to fit well, so I'm going to pop it back out. I'm going to add glue to the tops of these sections here, just a little dab on each flap. In this case, I want to just kind of move the glue around a bit. I'm going to take this bottom piece, put it in place, and use your fingers to get it to hold down and let the glue set. And now you have your teacup other than our handle piece here. These are the two pieces that you need for the handle before you attach it to the last panel piece. So before we glue anything, we just fold on those score lines. Since all of these pieces fold inward, these end tabs are the one spot where you want to fold the opposite of where we've been doing everything else with the score line, so folding outwards. That's because when it meets the handle, you want it to be able to attach. So everything folds inwards on this piece except for these two ends fold outward. This one is pretty easy, it just has two folds folding inward. So we're going to take this main piece and we're going to be adding glue just to these outside sections and connecting it to this piece. So I still have some glue in my brush here, so I'm just going to add some glue because you just want a little bit. And we're going to take this piece, line it up, and in this case you do want to hold a little bit longer in place so it doesn't move when you're attaching the other sections. So I'll have some glue, otherwise use your glue. Add some glue here, and you want to make sure you close the gap here and line up your edges and hold in place. So we're just going to keep repeating these steps for all of these sections here. Okay, this is your last section. A little bit longer of a piece. Make sure the whole part is glued together. And here is your handle before we attach it to the panel. Just similar to all the other panels, we're going to slightly curve it because this case is a little trickier to apply when it's already in its 3D form. You're going to take all of these pieces and slide it through the slits in the panel piece. And pull them through on the other side to make sure they're well in place. Do the same thing for the bottom part here. Pull through if you need to. And pull through. I'll make sure everything is lined up and in place. And what we're going to do is we're going to add glue behind this flap and glue it down. I still have glue on my brush, but if not, use your glue. Put it there, fold down, and hold into place. Next, we're going to repeat with this side. We're going to add glue. Fold down and hold into place. I'm going to repeat the steps for these bottom flaps. And here we have our panel with our handle. The next step is to add glue And then we're going to be attaching it to our teacup. This one is very important to have all of the edges with glue, just so it does not pull away from the teacup with the handle placement. Okay, we're gonna line it up here in place and use your fingers on both sides to really get this panel glued in to your position. And there you go. Here we have our 3D paper teacup. With just a few steps, you'll have a fun decoration for your tea party. Thank you.